rendition. I'm a composer and an environmentalist. And the only kind of music that I make is about the environment, about various social causes, and things that are very strong and dear to me. The fact that I do not do film music means that a lot of you have not heard of me. But nevertheless, we're all here to try to change that. But so what I'm going to be doing is that the only kind of music that I make is about, as I mentioned, about the environment, about social impact around those areas, but most importantly about celebrating our country and what we stand for. Because I've always believed that, especially the younger musicians in India, we always feel that to get international recognition, one has to, create music in English, one has to create Western music, which is actually not true, because the musicians who have actually gotten international accolades all over the world, people like Pandit Ravi Shankar, people like Pandit Vishumohan Bhatt, people like Anushka Shankar or Ustad Zakir Hussain, these are the people who have actually broken cultural barriers and gotten accolades all over the world. And these are musicians who have dug deep into their roots and made music based on what makes them uniquely Indian. And I think that's going to be really important for us to understand. So now coming to what we are going to be presenting today, every country has got a national anthem. Every country has got a national anthem, and every country is recognized by that particular national anthem and that piece of music. And that is the power of music. But at the same time, most countries, their national anthems are a little controversial, or some people like it, some people don't like it, or some political party creates some problems about the national anthem and says that this is not what is representing our country. Whereas India is very different, where the national anthem is the most revered piece of music that we have. Across political ideologies, philosophies, backgrounds, cultures, traditions, language barriers, geographic location, everybody in India absolutely love our national anthem. And again, when the first few notes of the national anthem is played, everybody feels a very, very strong sense of patriotism and love for our country and pride for our country. And I'm no different being an Indian. In fact, the first piece of music that I ever learned as a human being is basically the Indian national anthem, before I even learned nursery rhymes or before I learned lullabies. So the anthem and the music is completely in my blood, and it's something that I absolutely love with all my heart. It's a piece of music that is my favorite piece of music in the whole world. So in the past, I've created many versions of the national anthem. In my professional career, I've had a professional career in music for the last 24 years. In these 24 years, I've created 3 versions of the national anthem in the past. So one I created was for the COP21, that is the climate change conference which happened in Paris in 2015. So the Paris Climate Change Conference, or the COP21, was the largest conference of nations from all over the world. 195 countries coming together, that is world leaders, presidents and prime ministers from 195 countries coming together to try to understand what climate change is and how to mitigate the effects of climate change and create a future that is better for our future generations. So over there I created a version of the national anthem which is dedicated to the forests and wildlife of India, because I believe that all of us believe that India is much more than just human beings. India is defined by our forests and wildlife, our beauty is defined by our forests and wildlife, our sustainability is defined by beautiful forests and wildlife. And in fact, we as human beings have been in this on this land for only 3 lakh years, but our forests and wildlife have been here for 3,000 lakh years. So to signify all of this and to signify that even the forests and wildlife are a part of our country, I created a version of our national anthem, which was quite successful and played all over the world. The second version I created last year, that was in 2022. India has been home to a lot of refugees from all over the world, and these refugees who come to India, they feel very welcome in India. They feel welcome as if it is their new home. And some of these refugees are fantastic musicians. And some of them have been forced to leave their country because they are musicians. Sometimes they have left on the threat of death or under dire circumstances, just with the clothes on their back. They've had to leave the country, and India has been a very welcoming home for them. So along with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, that is the UN Refugees Organization, I created a version of the national anthem where I sang the national anthem along with 12 refugees from Sri Lanka, from Myanmar, from Afghanistan, and from Cameroon. Fantastic singers. We created a version of the national anthem, and that national anthem was very successful last year, that version of the national anthem. This year, I've gone on to do something very, very special, and it's absolutely epic. It's the biggest version of the national anthem that I've ever created. So what I did was that I've collaborated with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in London many times. In fact, my Grammy-winning albums has got the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra featured in it. And this time what I did was that I collaborated with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at Abbey Road Studios. And this time, normally the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra is 75-piece or 65-piece. This time we went with a 100-piece orchestra. So this is, and I conducted the orchestra as a conductor, and we performed the Indian National Anthem. And so it's the biggest symphony orchestra ever to record the Indian National Anthem. So that is how amazing this is. And of course it is a British orchestra. So it's got an added story that, that the British have ruled us for almost 200 years. And now it's an Indian person conducting their most in-demand orchestra, that is the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and a 100-piece orchestra at the most legendary studios, that is Abbey Road Studios, which is the most legendary studio and the most iconic studio in the whole world, and performing the Indian National Anthem. So it gave me a lot of pride, it gave me a lot of humility to actually conduct this particular orchestra and get them to perform the Indian National Anthem. So it's been a wonderful experience, obviously. It's been an absolutely wonderful experience, and I plan to release this anthem on the 14th of August, that is the eve of our Independence Day, on the 14th of August at 5 p.m. So 14th of August at 5 p.m. is when we will be releasing this video. We've done the constitutional version of the national anthem, which is between 52 to 53 seconds. So that way, we are hoping that as many people use this particular version of the national anthem for the events and everywhere, because I'm going to be gifting this particular version of the national anthem to the whole country and to Indians everywhere, anywhere in the world. So basically anybody can use this version of the national anthem absolutely intact the way it is for any purposes they want, without any permission from me or without any royalties, nothing. Anybody can just use the national anthem however they want, but the only caveat that we have, the only condition we have is that you cannot tamper with the national anthem, the version, and you cannot change the video, you have to use it as it is. So as long as you use it as it is, it's free for use for anybody, and it's just our gift, completely free, because this anthem has been completely self-funded, so there is no involvement from anybody, so it's free for everybody to use.
It was being played. I was thinking of saying the national anthem myself, how would you try to keep a track also on that particular thing, because as if it would be a free thing. So just I had that question, okay, how would you keep a track that thing is not being tampered, and this is just a music of national anthem?
I think that will be sort of, what I'm hoping for is that it's difficult for us to keep track about these things, even if it is a film song or whatever. It's difficult to keep track of people who are desecrating, our art. But I'm hoping that since this is a national anthem, and with so many of us who love our country, I think it will be self-done, If somebody tampers with the anthem and desecrates it and does it in a bad way, I think people will automatically troll those people, So I think that will happen. I'm hoping that happens automatically, where everybody come together and they sort of help us out, and they ensure that a disrespectful version of this does not show up.
I just mean to say yours is just a music.
Correct, it's instrumental.
I want to sing my national anthem.
So
along with that thing, so if that permission is there, I just
you can just sing it, because if it's respectful, then nobody is going to tell anything. Even I'm not going to say anything about it.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm going to be very strict that it's only going to be this, because somebody put some visuals to it, which is absolutely amazing. That's also fine. The only reason why I put this caveat is that to prevent any desecration of it. But obviously, somebody can use just the instrumental if it is, let's say, it's a school assembly, and there is no big screen for it to be played. Then somebody can just play the music. It does not matter, as long as everybody is respectful to it.
Yeah.
Because that's my main objective. You have to be respectful to it. So even if there is no video to it, or you change the video, that's all fine. But at the same time, it's very important to have the respect for the anthem. That's it.
And that also Britishers.
Yeah.
And as you said, they ruled us for 400 years. How did you convince them? And
no, they were very happy to do it, actually. They were very, very happy to do it, and they wanted to do this as a gift also to India. So they were very happy to do this, and I've collaborated with them, as I mentioned, multiple times in the past. In fact, 2 to 3 times I've collaborated with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, but not with this size. So this was the largest size that I've collaborated with, and so basically that when I voiced it out to them that I would like to record the Indian National Anthem, they were just happy to do it. They were very, very happy to do it. And especially now that there is a claim that this is the biggest symphony orchestra to ever record the Indian National Anthem, that made them even more happier, because at the end of the day, British and Indian relationships have never been better than what it is today. So everybody is very, very happy. And it's a new India at the end of the day, this also signifies that, that people want to do things for India. People want to collaborate with Indians. People want to showcase India in a beautiful way to show that we are friends. Prime Minister Modi's visits also, if you look at it, to France and to USA. In fact, I was there at the state dinner when Prime Minister Modi and President Macron were having dinner. So it was me sitting down, then President Macron and Prime Minister Modi at the dinner, So, and I was privy to their conversations. I saw how amazing it was, how much of respect the French President was giving our Prime Minister. And the French President having conversations with me, about our relationships and all of that stuff. So I believe that, that people all over the world want to do things for India and want to collaborate with Indians, and this is a great testimony to that.
I just forgot, I just wanted to mention that you are making India really proud, I just wanted to mention that thing maybe.
I hope I am, yeah.
Of course you are. I just met you on Preeti Room interview.
Yeah, of course.
Like we were discussing outside also, there's a lot of emotional factor attached to this, and while creating such a masterpiece yourself. So coming back to how are you going to collaborate with the government of India on this to actually, since you said you're releasing it on August 14th, and that's also, by the way, Pakistan's Independence Day. So
but eve of our Independence Day.
Yeah, correct. So are you going to collaborate with the government of India on this? Is our Prime Minister going to make an official announcement on this?
Right now there is no talk about that. But I'm hoping, because so what I forgot to mention is that I actually recorded this on the 7th of August, just day before yesterday. So I came directly to the Leela Hotel from London this morning. So that is what. So I recorded just day before yesterday, and we edited it in record time. So we recorded it at Abbey Road Studios from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock on the 7th in London time. So at 5 o'clock, which was approximately about 10 o'clock, 10:30 p.m. India time, that is when I uploaded the files to our editor, who was in Bangalore. And so by the time I landed over here, the edit was ready.
Wow.
So that is how it was done. It was done in record time. And yeah, so basically that. So right now the anthem, y'all are the first people besides me who has watched this anthem today. So because it is just literally ready just now. So right now is when the discussions will start, because without having anything in my hand, it's impossible to have discussions with the government and to showcase, So, and the other thing what I wanted to mention is that since it's free for all, on August 14th at 5 p.m. eve of Independence Day, my sincere request to everybody is that if we're not going to be releasing it on one channel and everybody go over there. So what I'm going to do is that if you all can leave your details, like email IDs or WhatsApp numbers with Neeraj ji, then what I will do is that I will send the anthem on 14th in the morning to everybody. And if you all can just hold off releasing the anthem till 5 o'clock, that would be really good. And I would sincerely appreciate that. From 5:01 onwards, you all can just post it in your own, on your own channels, wherever you all want, on whichever channels. And also you all can add an introduction yourself. Like for example, if you've got your own channel, you can just add like a 45-second or 30-second introduction describing it, and and attach it to the video and put it out. So I would be very, very grateful if everybody does that. Even if it is on your own personal social media, please upload it, because we're not looking at just one upload where everybody goes there. We want everybody to upload it. Yeah.
Ricky, hi. This is Russell De Silva from Press Trust of India.
Hi.
I must say first and foremost, before I put forth my question, that hearing this means, as a film critic, I go regularly to the theatre, and
I know of your work. Yeah.
Yes, as you would know that the national anthem is played over before each movie.
Correct.
But right now, the goosebumps that I got watching you over there at Abbey Road Studio, it doesn't compare to hearing it every time in the theatre. I don't know why. I can't put a finger on it.
But the thing is that the theatre thing, I've tried to crack that, even with my previous version, which was dedicated to the forest and wildlife. I've not found, I'm just being frank and candid over here, I've not found any headway into getting the theatres to actually play this. So if anybody can help me out, as I said, it's free for all. I'll give you whatever resolutions you want. If there needs to be an Atmos mix, I'll get that also done. I'll do whatever it takes to get into theatres. I really, really want this to get into theatres. So if there is any way we can get into theatres, I'm absolutely game. I heard that there is a mandate that that the visual has to be only the flag. I've even got that ready. So I've got an animation of the flag which can be the video of it, if that is the mandate, if you cannot have these visuals. So I can give you the same version with a beautiful animated version of the flag. Because currently, if you see the flag animation which is there in the theatres, it's I think a 3 or 4 second loop, and it keeps cross-fading into each other. But I've got a proper 60-second loop which will play throughout, and and I can create a good version of it. But I just need help in cracking this and getting into theatres.
Also, you did say that before you learned to sing a lullaby,
Yeah.
it's the national anthem that first got your attention.
Correct.
Growing up, is there any particular musician's version of the national anthem, or probably any patriotic song that really touched your pulse as an artist yourself?
So I wouldn't say it was a particular song or particular music, but it was musicians themselves. Like my greatest inspiration in my entire life has been Pandit Ravi Shankar. And again, because Pandit Ravi Shankar, the thing is that there is that feeling of India every time he played the sitar. And he would collaborate with all these Western musicians, but he would be true to himself. And before he came into the picture, whenever Indian music was used in a collaboration, it was a little sprinkling of the sitar, or one tabla hit, or a tanpura playing somewhere, like, just as a flavor, it was used. But when he collaborated with the Western people, it was a 50-50% collaboration. So I used to feel very proud of our country. Shankar and the classical musicians have been such a huge inspiration to me, is that, digressing a little bit, but answering your question sort of as to why their music has always felt very patriotic to me, is that when a Bollywood singer or a Bollywood composer, when they perform anywhere in the world, whether it is New York or New Jersey or or Moscow or Berlin or wherever, they always are able to fill up a complete stadium. They're able to fill up a stadium, they're able to fill up a complete arena or a hall or whatever, and they get a huge audience. But that audience is mostly the Indian diaspora. About 99% of that audience is the Indian diaspora. Because Bollywood, even except with a few exceptions, Bollywood has actually not broken cultural barriers, but a few exceptions are there where Bollywood has actually broken cultural barriers. But when you look at the classical musicians like Pandit Ravi Shankar, Pandit Vishwamohan Bhatt, Ustad Ali Akbar Khan, Ustad Zakir Hussain, Anushka Shankar, all of these musicians. In fact, when I was 19 years old, I had gone to San Francisco and I watched a concert of Pandit Ravi Shankar. And what shocked me of that concert is that there must have been about 1,500 people in the audience. And the audience inside the auditorium was very reflective of the demographic of the city itself. Because inside the audience, about 80% of the people were people who were natives of San Francisco. And the rest of them were, were people from India, people from China, people from Latin America, and things like that. And then that is when I realized that it's these traditional musicians who have actually broken cultural barriers. And the best part is that they're not trying to ape the West. What they're doing, and they're not trying to follow current trends, they're just playing what is true to their own heart and true to their own culture. And they're digging deep into themselves and figuring out what is it that makes them uniquely Indian, and they're showcasing that to the world. So for me, any music of any of these amazing classical musicians has always been an inspiration for me, not only the music, but them as a personality too.
One more question.
Sure.
As Abbey Road, the world's biggest studio, and performing the national anthem with a full British orchestra, do you think so it would ever be possible for a British and American to come to India, to one of our studios, and perform their national anthem with an all-Indian orchestra? And would the Indian public, say, be as accepting of it as the Britishers have been?
That's already happened in the past. I've created a sort of like slightly Indian version of the Canadian national anthem when I had performed over there, and I created that. But anyway, but that was not at this particular magnitude. But at the same time, I believe that the thought process can be slightly different, because a symphony orchestra is a Western concept. So what needs to happen is that them coming over here and probably recording a national anthem with Indian instrumentation. And I'm pretty sure that that is going to happen, because that is the way forward. Because everybody's looking for diversity, everybody's looking for different ways of representing the national anthem. That is one thing. Second thing is that I believe, this is my personal opinion, so don't hold me to it, but no other country has got a national anthem like India, where it is revered across the country, where they take it that seriously. They'll probably have another song, like a pop song or something like that, that all of them love, that they will record in an Indian way, which has happened, like the James Bond theme, and the theme for Mission Impossible, and the theme for Titanic. These are songs that they will record, but the thing is that they do not revere the national anthem in their country the way that we revere a national anthem. So I believe that maybe that might not happen simply because they will not care about their national anthem to actually record it in another country, but they'll care about their other stuff. And that has happened time and again, where their very, very popular songs have been done with Indian orchestras and Indian ensembles and all of that stuff. But I don't think they care about the national anthem as much as we do.
चुनिंदा शख्स में से हैं जो लगातार अपने कार्यों से भारत का नाम विश्व पटल पर रोशन कर रहे हैं।
Thank you.
ये जो आपका काम है वो भी अविस्मरणीय है, अकल्पनीय है। ऑन अ लाइटर नोट मैं ये पूछना चाह रहा हूँ, रॉयल फिलहार्मोनिक जो ऑर्केस्ट्रा है उसके 100 यूनिट्स के साथ आपने जो ये बनाया है, ये एक तरीके का उनके साथ बदला है 200 सालों का जो उन्होंने हम पर राज किया था?
नहीं, बदला नहीं है, लेकिन the thing is that I joked with them. So that video I have not yet edited it, but I'll send it to everybody. Before we started doing the national anthem, performing it, I actually spoke to them. And I told them, during the time I told them that, this will be the biggest symphony orchestra to record the national anthem, and I'm very honored to work with you yet again after working with you in the past. So what's up, maine bola? And then I said that I laughed and I told them that, and after you people ruled us for 200 years, this will be the best gift you can give to India. Of course, everybody laughed, but not laughed at me, but they all laughed in acknowledgement, and that made them work very, very hard to give me the best product. Because they felt it, that this is a gift that we have to give to Indians. And I felt it in their performance. Because I do not believe, I've worked with them so many times in the past, and I do not believe that this kind of effort and this kind of quality I've ever gotten in the past. Because they really worked hard and they wanted to give this to 1.4 billion Indians.
और आपका थे जब आप शुरुआत कर रहे थे, आपने कहा कि कुछ लोग आप शायद ना जानते हों, आपके जैसे महान एक संगीतकार को भी ये कहने की जरूरत पड़ रही है, कहीं ना कहीं हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री उस चीज से महरूम है कि आपका जो संगीत है, जैसे कि आप कल्चरल और लैंग्वेज बैरियर तोड़ने की बात कर रहे हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि हिंदी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को इस बारे में भी सोचना चाहिए कि एक ऐसा शख्स जो मैं जैसा बोल रहा हूँ कि जो भारत का गौरव है, उसको यहाँ पर लेके आए, उनके साथ कुछ काम करें, ताकि ये यहाँ का जो काम है, यहाँ का संगीत है, वो विश्व पटल पर अलग लेवल पर पहुंचे.
So, I believe that the music that is made right now in the Hindi film industry is extremely high quality. I believe that the production quality, the singers, the music, the beats, the production, the mixing, mastering, it's parallel with everything. So I do not believe that there is a dearth of quality. I think quality is absolutely stunning, and even I listen to Bollywood music all the time. The only thing is that I would love to be a part of a Bollywood film if the film at the core of it is about a very strong social message. Because then I would resonate with it, and then I would be able to I would be able to give my best to the movie, because it would be something that I absolutely believe in. So that is very important for me. Because for me, what does not excite me is somebody paying me money and asking me to make music, based on their sensibility. For me, what excites me more is that I have this idea that, that I want to get this national anthem done by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and I go with all my might and I do this, Or there is a social cause, like for example a refugee crisis, or there is an environmental cause, jaise a human and elephant conflict, and us par main music banao. So for me, these are the things that excite me a lot, doing things which I feel very strongly about.
Indian cinema से अगर किसी maker के साथ collaborate करना हो, कौन होगा वो आपके साथ? या कोई एक actor जिसके साथ collaborate करना चाहे?
It's very difficult for me to say because there are lots of them. Musicians तो मैं बहुत बता सकता हूँ. Like I've collaborated with Mr. Shankar Mahadevan many times. Salim Sulaiman ji, they are almost like brothers to me. We've collaborated many times. So there are lots of musicians like that. Aditya Narayan, Jonita Gandhi, सबके साथ मैंने collaborate किया है. But filmmakers, it's difficult. It's difficult for me to say. There are lots of them actually. Because there are one or two names come to my mind, but I don't want to say those names because I will be leaving out many other names.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Planning to shoot this and record the entire national anthem. And my second question is, how are you trying to get this to the root level in India, where social media doesn't exist? So for those people or over there, in connection with the government of India maybe for that matter, or for social causes, how are you planning to take it?
So the planning of this has been about, it's not been very long, it's been about 3 months. So 3 months back is when I got the idea that we should be doing this and I should be doing this, and that is when I approached the orchestra and and came up with a score, because it's very difficult to come up with that score because every musician needs a sheet in front of them, of what to play. So to write that score and to come up with it where everything comes together beautifully, because until the orchestra plays it, you do not know how it's going to sound, with all these musicians together. So that took a while for me to actually write it and to understand that this is going to sound good. And then the experience of hearing the orchestra playing it to you is an experience which is unparalleled, because you're in that room and the orchestra is playing your music back to you, whatever you've written. They're playing it back to you. That is like there is no words to describe how amazing it feels to listen to 100 people playing it back to you in the same room. So that was so it was 3 months to answer your question. The second thing about reaching to the grassroots, one thing is, one way that I've answered it is that it's free for all. So anybody can use it for whatever purposes they want. And of course, I need the support of the press, because At the end of the day, traditional media is what is most important when it comes to television and print media, where to get out to as many people as possible. Everybody's got mobile phones, so sharing it on WhatsApp and all of that stuff, because there's no restrictions for it, so anybody can share it however they want. So I'm just hoping that organically it reaches every single person. So
सभी इंडियंस के लिए गूज़बम्प होता है.
Correct.
और जिस तरीके से आपने ये अभी नेशनल एंथम बनाया, उस तरीके से लग रहा है कि 14 तारीख को जब रिलीज़ होगा तो पूरा इंडिया साथ साथ ब्रिटेन में अदर देश में देखा जाएगा. तो आपको क्या लगता है कितने लोग तक ये चीज़ पहुँचेगी?
It's very बहुत मुश्किल है बोलने के लिए कि कितना रीच होगा, बिकॉज अगेन हमारा कोई मीडिया प्लान नहीं है, हमारा कोई सपोर्ट नहीं है कोई बड़ा लेबल के साथ, और टेलीविजन के साथ कोई टाई अप नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. तो it will all depend upon you, the media, as to what the reach will be. So जैसे मुझे आपका जितना भी हेल्प मिल सके मुझे चाहिए.